Hi everyone, I'm Holly with Missouri River Soap, and I was getting ready to remake my Smooches batch, and I remembered that I'd had requests to show this one on video, so I guess that's what I'll do here. First, I need to get my coconut milk mixed in. Let's see, get where you guys can see. It feels like a mile away on this table. Alright, let's try that so I can actually work a little closer to my own bucket. Okay, and I did mix up this lye solution over 24 hours ago, and it has a little bit of lint in it, lye lint. And so I'm going to go ahead and strain it today. I just made another batch of soap called just straight Magnolia. Woo-wee, did it accelerate on me. Maybe I will pop one of those loaves over here and you can look at it. I think it still looks cool. I think I'm happy with it still. I knew it was going to accelerate, so I just added a, I just used a little titanium dioxide and left it solid color, but I just drizzled a little bit of mica and oil on the top, just kind of make a nice little shimmery swirl on the very top, and my word, my goodness gracious, it looks weird. Alright, I just want to emulsify this. I'm going to split it up into 3 colors. It doesn't take long in these smaller buckets. And this is my Smooches fragrance, which is just a Victoria's Secret bombshell type. That looks good. Alright, so I want a little bit for a hot pink. A little goes a long ways. I'm just doing 2 loaf molds this time. That may even still be too much. Alright, let's put the big boy to the side for a minute. Me 2, I think it'll be alright. So I have some Hollywood pink mica from Nurture Soap mixed up here. It really is one of my favorites for just a really bright pink. Kind of like a, almost a magenta. Good stuff. Okay, we're looking good so far. And into this one, I am going to do some gold mica from Bramble Berry. I think I looked and it's gold sparkle mica. It's pretty much the same as shimmer gold from Nurture, maybe a little brighter. They all have little different tones that you have to get used to working with. Okay, and so then in the big pot, I usually mix a little bit of green and blue together, but I decided to try the Aqua Pearl from Bramble Berry because I had some of that. So let's see how that looks. It's basically the color I mix up. Could be a hint more green. I changed my mind because this is mighty mint green. Mixed up a little bit of mermaid blue from Bramble Berry. I just want it to have a little bit less of the green. I think that's more what I want. I do believe. I do want to give each part just a little blend, so I'm just going to do that real quick. I'm going to put a little bit of this aqua tealish color in the base of the mold. And then I'm going to add in the pink. Let's see, I don't want anybody in my way too much. Gonna go back and forth. I'm gonna do this twice. Now I did wait just a little bit for this to thicken up. If you pour it too thin, it'll just muddy up. So I don't know if you guys see the texture of that. It's pretty much a medium trace at this point. Let's see, I guess I'll put a little bit of green just to kind of start to swirl. Back to the pink. I want it all to go in. There's not much left of the gold. It was not a good call for me to use my left hand to pour. It's just not very strong. Back to the green, which needs a little stir. Try to cover up this top just a little bit so there's a little bit more green. Every time I make this soap, it looks a little bit different. I think that's the fun part about soap making, is we can play with it just a little bit. I'm going to scrape every last bit of this and come back to you. So sometimes this is when doing a video is not the best process for me because I can lose track what I'm doing from all my talking, because I was going to do a kind of a hanger swirl. It looks good though, it's okay. I'm gonna give this guy just a little bit more. So now I'm just gonna take some of that mica and suck it up into a little pipette and just add a few, more than a few, but some dots here and there that I can swirl through. That'll give the top another little jazzy look. So now, I just want to swirl it. I need to get close enough for my own self. I'm going to start over here. And then just kind of do figure eights. Now I'm not going to clean up the edges this time, because sometimes we do that, it moves the swirl and it becomes kind of angled, and I don't necessarily want that this time. So I'm just going to let it be, and then when I peel the paper away, I can just bevel those edges really easily. Spritz this with just a little bit of gold sparkle mica. And there we have our new batch of Smooches soap. And I'll go grab that Magnolia to show it to you. Okay, so here's the Magnolia. It's kind of a hot mess, but it's almost to the point where it actually looks kind of good. This one looks better than this one, kind of glopped up a little bit there in a few places. But I covered it pretty good with some iridescent eco-type glitter, biodegradable. It's still really pretty, all the colors together, so I think it's going to be alright. Especially once it gets all cleaned up, I think it's going to be pretty. Alright, so I have Smooches and Magnolia, and I will come back when it's time to cut, and I'll probably cut this one too. Okay, here I am to cut the Smooches soap. It just turned out super beautiful. I love it a lot. And let's see, I guess I need to move my tray over. The sparkle on the top of this is so gorgeous. Love it. It's been a few days. It doesn't have to be a few days before I cut my soap, but a lot of times I just need that time to, I don't know, work on other things. So I tend to just unmold and put them up on a curing rack, and it does help to create a nicer cut. Well, that's an interesting design. Not very dispersed throughout, but it's okay. It will do. I probably would have gone for a little darker blue. I think it's beautiful and that there's no problem with it at all, but I probably would have gone for a bit more of a blue aspect to this so that it would match some of my other batches just a a little bit better. But that's what happens when you try new colorants. I was fairly uniform in my swirling, but the uniformity is gone. There is no uniformity to this. Trying to remember how I made it the last time, whether I actually used a hanger swirl. I'm starting to think I didn't, but from the way it looked, it did look like I swirled it with a hanger, so I don't know. That'll work. Gets the job done. I find that I do have to take pictures though for nearly every batch of soap I make, whether it's a remake or not. Just there's enough difference, and I think to be, you know, authentic, it's best to show it as is. If it's not much of a difference, I'll go ahead and just use a picture I've used before. But if there's variation by a lot in the swirl or the top or colors, I usually try to get a new picture done. I can have one more in this row. Now, all fragrances are not created equally. I use the dupe for Bombshell Type from Nature's Garden. It smells amazing and it's fairly easy to work with. I switched up at one point and tried using one from a different supplier, Indigo, and it ended up being, whew, it really accelerated to the point of seizing, and I just did not get my batch done as I wanted it to. So even though they're the same scent, it doesn't mean they're going to perform the same. So from Nature's Garden, they call it kissing and telling, and that's why I kind of came up with the Smooches. Oh, that's pretty. Because I didn't know it as Victoria's Secret Bombshell. I knew it as kissing and telling. So, anyway. Gorgeous. Look at this side. Not really pretty. It almost has a Northern Lights like design to it, you know, kind of that shimmery look. Trying to make sure that I don't cut off much on the ends of these loaves so that I can get the full 14 bars. If I forget and cut them different, more like my regular slab loaves, then it ends up just a little bit different in the long run. I'd say this Bramble Berry gold is just a bit brighter than the gold, a little bit more yellow than the gold I tend to use from Nurture Soap. I don't think it's enough to really choose one over the other. This one doesn't quite have as much of a shimmer to it. It's a little bit more opaque, where the Nurture, I don't know if it's called Shimmer Gold. I'll have to note it. Well, I think I have a jar here still. Yeah, this is Gold Sparkle that I used from Bramble Berry, but I normally use this Shimmer Gold Mica. You can tell I have a big jar of it and it's all gone. And it's kind of hard to tell here. I think you can see good enough, maybe. Anyway, this one from Nurture is a little, just a hint darker, not quite a yellow gold so much as this one is. So anyway, there you have it. Every supplier is just a smidgen different. Let's see, I think that's 10, so I still get 28 bars, which is a smaller batch size. But every now and again, it's better to get 28 bars made instead of none at all. But I typically work in larger batches than that, the 40 bar. Now my figgy cream, I make it in about a 70 bar batch, just because it's so popular. And I see that I have not a whole lot of that one left, so I better be getting it remade. It's just a classic, we love it. I am trying to keep some more of our favorites remade. Sometimes it's hard to tell on how fast they're gonna sell. Sometimes they'll sit around for a while, then other times they'll be like, you know, the hot topic, and they go quicker. And I'm always trying to fit in regular batches and seasonal batches and new batches. So there's so many different soaps that I make. It's really hard to keep them all around, but I'm trying to get some of our favorites in closer rotation. Might skip a month or two just based on cure times. If they go ahead and sell out. Okay, well that ended up being a neat bar here at the end. So there we have the Smooches soap. It's just a very soft, it is a floral, but it's not a strong floral, it's not a strong fruity. It's just an overall, just a really nice, feminine, pretty fragrance. So I'll go get the Magnolia now and we'll cut it also. So while the Magnolia was not ideal, I think it's quite pretty. It turned out very colorful and I think it's gonna be nice. Let's see what it looks like inside. This is a lovely fragrance. It's not the same as my 1900 Magnolia. It's definitely a stronger floral, but it's pretty. It's like almost has a sweetness to it. This is really, really nice. It was a suggested fragrance. Someone who wanted to get it for their mom, and I'm just sitting here looking it over. I think I need to tighten up my wire here, so I'm going to do that real quick. Okay, so I've tightened my wire, and it's still kind of, the wire is kind of hopping around, so I've laid it on its side to help with that. It's kind of trying to catch just a little bit there on the top, so you can see the top. Well, I saw that and I thought there was something on my screen. So you can see how it just has some nice color. It's just solid white. So in the end, I think once it gets all cleaned up, I just don't even think it's gonna be a thing at all. This loaf is a little bit harder because the fragrance accelerated so much. So it's been the few days, and so the edges are drying off and a hint crumbly, but not too bad. And this is one of those situations where I can add some more water next time to help work with it, just so it's in the mold long enough to get the top swirled up before it really gets hard. At least it didn't rise to my knowledge. I can't remember if it rised or not. I don't think it did, because if it did, I would have noted it. So it's just one of those squirrely fragrances, and every now and again you just work with squirrely fragrances because they smell just so good. You just have to do it. And I would not hesitate to make this one again despite its acceleration. I will just make some adjustments next time is all. And I can imagine that this will just be a super gorgeous bar with the extra water to have it be fluid. And then the top I could swirl just a little bit better than I was able to, just because it was so very thick. I don't know, I'm getting a very, like, I don't know, I get a vibe from this one. I really like it, even though it's a bit wonky, and I don't know what it is about. Just like, it's like the scent and the colors I chose, and on the white, I just love it. I'm loving it. Sometimes you just never know, you know. I would have never picked this fragrance out on its own, but it actually is an amazing, delightful fragrance. It's just the, I think it's called Magnolia or Magnolia Blossom from Wholesale Supplies Plus. And I knew it was going to accelerate, so I was prepared to get it right into the mold. And I had a feeling that I wasn't going to be able to get this top done as well as I wanted. But it was kind of one of those things like, I did it and I winged it, and now I know for next time. Let's see how this is going to do. If a little more smooth with my cuts. Yeah, see, I still got them bouncing around that accelerated bumpy top. So it just really is best to put this one on its side. So these you can look for at our August release. I'm planning that right around the very beginning of the month, so keep that in mind. And that's the release. It's gonna have the watermelon and the luscious lemon. Oh, I've got a lot coming on. I won't have videos for everything, but I do have a lot coming on, and I have some new and fun things I think you'll be really excited about. But you'll have to wait and see on some of those, because I'm not quite ready to show or talk about it quite yet. So I am just going to finish cutting this loaf, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye.